Welcome back, drone fans, to another exciting episode of Dung Drones. All you need to know about the DJI Mini SE camera menu. If you're new to the drone world and droning is your kind of thing, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I produce videos on a weekly basis. So, let's jump in, guys. Okay, guys, so we're going to hit the go fly button and we're going to launch. And while I'm launching, just to let you know, the camera menu allows us to make modifications to the camera to get the most out of our camera. So the DJI Mini SE has a 2.7K camera that can go up to 30 frames per second, which means very clean video, guys. And we're just going to be exploring the camera menu to see what we can learn. I'll start first by tapping the three dots at the upper right hand corner of the screen. Then I'll tap the camera function at the top. The two sizes available in this menu are 16:9 and 4:3. The most commonly used aspect ratio is 16:9, as that is YouTube standard. 4:3 would be more along the lines of TikTok or Instagram or one of those social networking sites. I know this can be a bit confusing, so let's take a look at some real samples. This is a 16:9 aspect ratio picture, while this is a 4:3 aspect ratio picture. The 16:9 is much wider and the more commonly used of the two. So, the next time you go taking a picture, more than likely 16:9 will be your choice. Next, we have the video subtitles. After you activate this mode and you shoot a video, if you are to play the video back, you're going to see a very long string of numbers, and these numbers represent different things from the exposure value to the shutter speed, to the height of the drone at the time when you were flying, to the distance of it when you were flying. All this information is embedded in the video data that we are watching now. So if it is that you want to see all this information displayed, then you can activate this feature. Up next is the anti-flicker feature. The anti-flicker feature is a very powerful feature. This feature is used when you are shooting in, for example, artificial light, or if you are using a drone to capture video on a TV. Because of the varying frequencies emitted by the light from your television screen, it may cause waves or flashes, and the anti-flicker function helps to reduce that effect in your video. So depending on which country you're in, you may want to select 50Hz or 60Hz, and your video should be nice and clean. Next up is the histogram. The histogram is a very powerful feature that allows us to expose our image or video properly. Let us take a closer look at what the histogram is all about. The histogram consists of different parts. There are 5 bars, and this histogram also has spikes, or what I call waves, and you want to take notice of where these waves end up in relation to the 5 bars just identified. You want to get these spikes to be as more centered as possible. Now, if it is too much to the left, the image is dark. If it is too much to the right, the image will be overexposed. So the goal is to get it properly centered in the middle here. Now, it is on auto mode, which means that the drone is doing all this by itself, and this might mean that this is the best balance that the drone might think for this particular image. Now, if you want to manually adjust this, you can always hit the auto button and it will take you into the manual features where you are given more power to take control. Up next is our overexposure warning. Our overexposure warning is a very handy feature that helps us to properly expose our image. This feature is activated by tapping the button to the far right, and once we do that, it's going to produce zebra-like patterns over areas of the footage that it thinks is overexposed. So we can fix this by adjusting the shutter speed, as you see me doing on screen now. So as I decrease the shutter speed, the image will become more exposed and the zebra patterns will become more pronounced. So now I'm going the opposite direction, and you'll see that I'm 1/800 now, and the image is better exposed. You'll see that our spikes are more to the center of our histogram, and the image more or less is getting there. So I'm just kind of fine-tuning that. So you'll have to just, depending on the lighting situation on the day you're shooting, you can adjust it. Again, 0 being the aim on your manual meter at the bottom there. And I'm going to settle with the 0.3, that's negative 0.3 for my manual reading. And once your image is properly exposed, those zebra patterns should disappear or they should become minimal. Very handy feature, guys. Try it out. Next up is Gridlines. Gridlines is a very powerful feature that helps us to frame our shot. When we activate this feature, it creates lines on the screen that helps us to frame our shot properly. We can cut the screen into quarters, thirds, or we can put the plus icon in the middle to help us to get our frame balanced. We can even use them in combination, drone fans. So if one isn't enough, you can use them both. So here we have the X pattern and the thirds pattern all used together. Or we can deactivate and use just one. My personal favorite is the cross in the middle. I really like using that one. Comment down below which one is your favorite. And just for the fun of it, we can use all three if we decide to. This menu is really helpful in helping us balancing our shot. Although I found that having too many of these on can be quite distracting, so up next is white balance. White balance is the process of making the whites in our shot look just as white as the real thing that we're taking the picture of. Since the white balance controls the temperature of the image, it can also affect the mood of the image. Right now it's set at 5100 kelvins, and kelvins is a unit. I'm tapping manual so that I can manually adjust the kelvins. I move to the right and the image gets warm. I move to the left and the image gets cool or cold. Now, during the daytime, it can fluctuate anywhere between 5100 Kelvin or 5200 Kelvins depending on how lit the surrounding is. Remember, drone fans, when we're adjusting the white balance, we're trying to make the light in our shot look as close as possible to the source. Or if you're just starting out, you can leave it on auto for now. Next is our SD card display, which shows the available memory. Right now I do not have an SD card in my drone, so you'll see no SD card. Very handy in knowing the space before we launch. Followed by the sync download files to album feature. When you enable this feature, it will save all the videos and pictures that you have taken while you're in the DJI Fly app to your phone's album, which is very handy and it makes finding them a whole lot easier when you're finished. If disabled, you'll have to open the app to get to those files, or you'd have to use a file explorer to get to those files, which is much more time consuming, so I'd recommend you turn that on. Next up is a very useful feature that I really admire about this drone. So cache when recording simply means that when you're video or recording or you're taking a picture and you save it to your album, it will save a low resolution version of that image, and it will basically take up less space on your phone until you're ready to download the full resolution, which is fantastic. It saves a lot of space, and if it is that you're looking in your pictures to decide as to which one of the pictures you want to work with, it makes it a lot easier. If you want to learn more about downloading videos and images you've taken with your drone, there's a video on my channel, you can check it out. Next is max video cage capacity. If you're going out and you want to limit the amount of storage that your drone uses, this is a handy feature to gauge just that. Or you can leave it on auto if it is that you want it to use until the space consumes. I have it on auto most times. I really don't need to put a restriction on it, simply because I just really go out to get the best shots and it might take a little bit more time and I don't want any restrictions while I'm flying, so I normally leave that to auto. Last but not least is the reset camera parameters. If it is that you are tired of the settings that you may have come up with over time and you want to go back to your default settings, hitting this function will do just that. And that brings us to the ending of our camera menu. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and there are plenty more videos on my channel about DJI Mini SE and about the DJI Mavic Air 2. Check them out, guys. Until then, it's Dung Drones, over and out.